Hi guys, welcome back to the James Bond Show. I'm your host Krazy Kajeevie, here with no fears, limits or substitutes. Guys, just want to say, if you like the James Bond Show, please click that subscribe button. When you do, you'll see a little bell. If you tap the bell, you will get notifications of every video I do. Please drop a like. I want to thank everyone out there for their incredible support based on my last video and also private inbox messages I got on it and the comments. You guys are champion. We're standing up to the wokies here at the James Bond Show. Now, speaking of wokies, guys, I have got a big wokey dokey song, and as you know, I'm the James Bond Show here that is defending real James Bond. Let's do this, guys. Okay, so Daniel Craig can't help himself. Daniel Craig has basically just wiped out half of the American film market that we're going to go and see No Time to Die. Not to mention so many Trump supporters out there around the world as Daniel Craig comes out talking to Yahoo Entertainment with the gloves on, cracking at President Donald Trump. Now, you would think that Daniel Craig, Eon, etc., they would learn from the genius of Tim Miller, who came out and shat all over the Terminator fans, telling them they didn't know what effing feminism was and they didn't know what an effing great action film was, blah, 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 when he was trying to promote Terminator Dark Fate. And how did that work out for Terminator and Tim Miller and Tim Miller's career? And then you've got the genius that directed the new Charlie's Angels film, I believe it was Elizabeth Banks, and she bagged males as well, blaming the men for not showing up to Charlie's Angels because they didn't want tough, strong women. No, what they didn't want was basically women that looked like they hated men, that look like, you know, feminist lesbians that don't like white males. The patriarchy is bad. So that's kind of why Charlie's Angels sank. And then have a look at, as I mentioned a few times here at the James Bond Show, have a look at the genius of Jonathan Kasdan, the son of Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Solo with his father, Lawrence. And basically, 4 days prior to Solo releasing, the genius of Jonathan Kasdan came out and said that if people can't handle pansexuality, then they can and we are sentient, because he was saying that Lando Calrissian is pansexual, which basically means say you're a male, you can go and get your dick and stick it in a toaster. Just make sure it's not turned on, okay? Because that, I don't want to see no burn or smell no burn foreskins. So just be careful there, guys. No burning the old knobby wobby in the toaster. Microwave, probably a little dangerous too. Might get radiation to the testicles. If you get a sandwich press and you kind of, that might get a little bit nasty as well. So I suggest you don't take the brilliant genius writing of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who inserted that sick, weird, sticking your pecker in a robot type stuff, or the advice of Jonathan Kasdan, and you don't go and hump an electrical appliance, and I reckon your sex life will be a little bit smoother. Alright, now let's get into this article, and you can decide for yourself if Daniel Craig has basically just wiped out millions of dollars. Not to mention Trump fans, Trump supporters, liberals, basically they're the ones that go and see James Bond films. It's not the left-wing cucks that Daniel Craig really is, and he's backing here. We'll get to the details in a moment. So it's more the liberals, the ones that, you know, like a bit of a dink butt slap, the ones that love their gadgets, love their women, love the locations, and actually have jobs and, you know, money, and they spend on going to Bond locations, and they also pay to go and see the Bond films. They're the type of fans that Daniel Craig should realise are going to turn up to his movie. Well, probably not now. Let's have a look at what the genius said. Now, before I get into this also, I want to acknowledge Richard Nichols, who brought this article to my attention yesterday. Richard Nichols is, once again, he is the admin of The Politics of James Bond on Facebook. Also, there's someone brought me to the attention of, I think it might have been Richard as well. Forgive me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think it might be Richard. Richard, take the credit, even if you didn't go Kajeevie style. Take the credit. Heel versus Baby. There's a YouTube channel called Heel versus Baby. I'm gonna leave his YouTube link in the description section, and I'm also going to leave the link to this article in the description section. Now, Heel versus Baby, I don't agree with everything he says in life. We might have some difference, but this guy, his video where he's basically saying that No Time to Die has gone soy and James Bond's turned into a simp. Basically, this guy even admits to being left-leaning in his politics, but he cannot stand the left-wing lunatics that slams anyone that wanted to leave Brexit or anyone that voted for Donald Trump. This guy actually listens to reason, and he is a decent left-wing, more left-leaning type of guy who actually listens, and he doesn't call people homophobe or bigot or racist, and I think that's fantastic. So guys, go and check his channel out. Alright, let's get right into this. So, from Yahoo Entertainment, Daniel Craig hints that politics play a role in No Time to Die. We struggle to keep Trump out of this film, was the quote. So let's quote that again. We struggle to keep Trump out of this film. Craig addressed how the current political climate will inform his Bond storyline, just as events of 911 called for a darker 007 series than the weary, cocked eyebrow hero portrayed by the likes of Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore. So this is the quote again. We struggle to keep Trump out of the film, Craig admitted to writer Sam Knight. But of course, it is there, whether it's Trump or whether it's Brexit or whether it is Russian influences on elections or whatever. Now let's look at this one by one, okay? So we struggle to keep Trump out of the film, Craig admitted. Okay, so he failed to keep Trump. It was hard. It was really hard for them because, you know, how many wars has Donald Trump gone to? None. None. How many sexual activities like Bill Clinton or Barack Obama, who was in the White House, as everyone knew he was a homosexual married to what a lot of people believe is transgender, how many sex things or sex crimes has Donald Trump caused as he's been president for 4 years? None. Has Donald Trump been the only sitting American president to go over to North Korea and to work on deals with the little crazy man over there? Only Donald Trump. Donald Trump has got his economy flying. Donald Trump has the #1 black people in work in US history. Okay? He opened up pipelines, gas lines. He's got that economy booming. Since Donald Trump came into power, look at the housing prices go up and up in America. So, did Daniel Craig want to mention that? Do you think No Time to Die will mention any of those things? Now, it's funny also how in 2015, when Donald Trump was plugging away over $47,000 to Bernie Sanders' little slush fund to try and get him elected, right? It wasn't an issue then when they were making Spectre. It wasn't an issue at all to make a Bond film without Hillary Clinton's email server with, 30,000 emails, right? And going out to different people that were all wrong and completely against her job as Secretary of State. There was nothing wrong with that. That didn't make Spectre. And of course, Benghazi. That didn't make Spectre either. It was easy to make Spectre without doing that. Not a problem in the world. No issues there. Okay, let's keep going on with this. But he says here, but of course it is there, whether it's Trump or Brexit. Now, Brexit. Now, this is Daniel Craig that is now living in New York in his ivory tower, all right? So he's living in New York. Hey, mate, if you run out of sugar, pop over to Trump Towers. I'm Sure, him and Melania would love to give you a little bit of, you know, sugar. Just, you know what, why don't you go over, knock on his door, have a chat with him, you know, because later on in here you talk about being a coward and gutless, yet you're saying these things and you don't know the man and you haven't gone and listened to the man or talked to the man. So get over there and do that, Krazy Waggy. And so, Brexit. Now, you know, you're not struggling, Daniel, and working in factories and doing shitty jobs like a lot of the British people who are paying to, you know, well, we're going to pay to go and see your film. And you basically don't respect their right for Brexit, which was their right and what the British people voted for. The British people voted for Brexit, and you don't like it. Let's keep going, guys, to see what Krazy has to say. Okay, so he didn't... This is interesting, isn't it? And I knew this was coming. He didn't elaborate on how President Trump might be referenced in the film. No, you don't want to give too much away, do you? Because you really got zero zilch. Not much, do you there, Daniel Krazy? Craig, who donated more than $47,000 to Bernie Sanders in 2015, also spoke out about his opposition to Brexit, which we've just covered. There are British people... Now, this quote, if anyone in the comment section can make sense of this, please let me know, because this just shows how deluded or weird this man is. There are British people working in the top industries in the world and at the top of those industries. This is backing up his Brexit stuff. Let's go through that again. Tell me what this has to do with Brexit. You ready? There are British people working in the top industries in the world and at the top of those industries. We do that and we are good at that. Give the man a gold star and a round of applause. So we do that and we are good at that. And somehow we're kind of breaking all that apart. So you're telling me by British people going over to America and working in Hollywood, doing your editing and all this stuff and cinematography, you're breaking Brexit apart. Brexit's going to hurt all that. Or maybe you've got British guys heading over to Europe to shoot films and they're going to be affected. Please, Daniel, tell us how with your genius. Let's keep going, guys. This is incredible. So whether it's breaking from Europe, okay, so now he's on Europe, okay, there is a sort of nihilism, isn't there? How, Daniel? How? Please tell us how. Don't use the big words, buddy, without telling us how. Let's keep going. Okay, so also he referred to President Trump as being cowardly for humiliating others. Wow, okay, so you didn't go on Saturday Night Live and humiliate people, did you? And look at your big buddy, your great buddy that you announced on his show that, Steve Colbert. You announced on Steve Colbert that you were coming back to do James Bond. Now let's think back to what Steve Colbert did when President Trump won the presidency. He basically said President Trump could come right here and basically sit on his ass. That's basically what he said. Or he could take his weenie in his face. The disgusting stuff Steve Colbert said to humiliate Donald Trump, and what they've done constantly, and the likes of Daniel Craig and these lefties do this constantly. But now he's up in arms about, apparently Donald Trump humiliating people. But again, he doesn't give any examples. Now, if it's calling Joe Biden Sleepy Joe, well, that's his nickname. He is Sleepy Joe. He's a very tired, grumpy guy. Everyone knows that. Maybe he's calling Crazy Bernie Sanders Crazy Bernie. Guess what? He is crazy. He's a crazy kook. And Daniel Craig wanted to put $47,000 to a campaign for a man that believes in abortion up to birth. Abortion up to birth. So all of you, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in whatever, I'm asking you all right now, everyone that's watching this, right, from all different countries, if you have a baby that's just come out, right, and this isn't about politics, guys, isn't about politics, but just say something happens down the street. You're walking down the street, car pulls over, you realise, oh my goodness, this woman's pulled over, she's trying to get herself to the hospital, She's heavily pregnant. She's not going to make it to the hospital. She shoots out this baby. You're there. The baby comes out. You got the baby. Would you kill it? Would any of you murder that baby? Because that is what Bernie Sanders wanted to do. That is what Daniel Craig supported with his $47,000+ He wanted to support a man that wanted to murder babies up to birth. And this is why I speak out against Daniel Craig. He doesn't represent the wonderful actors like Roger Moore, who would never say such things, or fund such complete communist Nazis like Bernie Sanders. And I've got to bring politics into this, really, because, well, when you got someone with such a pedestal like this speaking this absolute crap and then backing a Nazi, a baby murderer, like Bernie Sanders. And these are the people that say, love is love, love is love. But not if you're a growing little baby. And how many of you out there are pro-abortion and have children and you hold your own children and you love them and you look at them, yet you're happy for people to kill those children growing in the womb, or if you're a Sanders supporter, to back this guy wanting to kill them after they've been born or just before. That's pretty sick to me. That is genocide. Okay, guys, so there's one more little bit here as well. That's right. Basically what I covered before, Daniel Craig said nothing absolutely about Clinton, and he also doesn't talk about all the Christian people, the farmers in Africa that are being murdered. He also never mentioned that Barack Obama, who's probably one of his little homeboys, and of course a Democrat, Barack Obama, actually exported more people out of the US than any other president in the history of the United States. He didn't mention that little bit, did he? Also with the funding of Planned Parenthood that Obama was behind. Anyway, guys, I would love to know in the comment section below what you guys think of all that. Please get over and check out the other channel as well. Heels versus Baby, really good channel. Guys, till next time, keep on bonding and say hi to your mum for me. I don't know how I can handle leaving Brexit while I'm in my New York ivory tower. Daniel? Yes, Rachel? We've run out of sugar, honey. Could you go over to the Trumpsters and get some? But I don't think Donald's home. I think Melania is. Okay, baby. I'll go over just to get the sugar.
Stop bitching, Craig, you son of a bitch. At least you're like 30 centimeters tall. I'm only like 2 centimeters. And I got Krazy Kajeevie with his hand up my ass. Shut up, Craig, you bitch.